Alright, still going with geometry. Glad you like my singing. This is 2.3. 2.3. Angles at a point. Which means you've got a couple of angles that come together at one particular point on the page. Our first ones to talk about are these things called adjacent angles. Adjacent means it is next to each other. Right, so we've got an angle, here's one angle, and it is next to this other one. That's all it means. And I'm practicing the naming of these angles as well. I have letters A, X here, which is the vertex, they meet there, and a B. So I do the angle symbol, and I put the letters, the capital letters in there. A, X, B. A, X, B tells me about that angle right there. I've got another angle that is adjacent, so it's right next to it, and it's this angle B, down to X, and out to C. That's this part in here. So angle A, X and B is adjacent to angle B, X and C. Right, so two different places. Adjacent angles, done. Next one to talk about are complementary angles. Complementary is more than just hi, you look lovely. That's a compliment. This is complementary angles. These ones go together, so you add them up and they equal 90 degrees. Alright, so here's our 90 degree angle, AX out to C, but I'm going to add another line in here. Oh, tricky, tricky, tricky. There it is, and I'm going to put on here B. So I now have angle AXB, which is this part in here, and angle BX and C, this part in here, but those two together make a right angle. They add exactly to 90 degrees. This doesn't always happen, but when they do, they're complementary. So angle AX and B and angle BXC add up to 90 degrees. That's important. The name of those, complementary. Maybe you can think about it as a smile. I'll give you a compliment. Oh, who knows? The next things to have a look at are supplementary angles. They go past 90 to a straight line. Supplementary angles go together and equal 180 degrees for a straight line. So I have this straight line here, A through X to C. They are collinear from our other work, which means they're all on the same straight line. Now I've got an angle. I'm going to add another line in here. Guess what letter? B. Angle AXB, which is this one, and angle BXC, this one, when I add those up, they equal 180 degrees. They will give me that straight line. Maybe they're 90 degrees and 90, because that equals 180, great. Maybe they're 180, and that equals 180. So different angles can come together and be called supplementary because they'll add 280 degrees. Last thing to have a little look at here are angles in a revolution. Revolution is right the whole way around, a complete circle, 360 degrees. Now I have here angle, I've got these letters A, X and C, they're points. I've joined them with the line segment. Look at me using all these words. My angle in here, angle AXC, this one, if I put that with this angle on the outside, CXA, which is around the outside, so I've got an acute on the inside and a reflex on the outside, if I put those two together, I will get a 360 degrees. I know those two are going to add up to get right the way around in a circle. So they are angles in a revolution. And I actually could have more than that. I might have 3 or 4 angles in there, but here I'm just looking at 2 that I can put together and know that I'll get a complete circle of 360 degrees. Some things to practice and know. You have some special angles that you may not actually know the numbers of straight away, but you can work it out. Vertically opposite angles. Things that are opposite each other, vertically they call it. This letter B is opposite to this angle straight across here, so it actually is a mirror or exact copy of it. So I've got an angle B up there and I've got exactly the same one underneath it. I have an angle here that I don't know what it is yet, but I do know it exactly matches the one opposite. These are called vertically opposite angles. Opposite angles are equal, and that's important. If I find out that this is 60 degrees, then I can know straight away that this is 60 degrees. If I find out this is 120 degrees, then this one over here matches it and is 120 degrees. Really important to remember, opposite angles are equal. If I can find out all of those ones and get all the way around, I will know they add up to 360. So that's an important thing to remember. Add all angles to create a revolution and they'll equal 360 degrees. Quite important little one. Last thing, quite quickly, this word here, perpendicular. Perpendicular lines meet at 90 degrees, and often you see it. Here's a straight line down and a straight line across. We put in the little right angle symbol. They are perpendicular lines. But it doesn't matter if they're tipped over. If they meet straight down, and you can make a 90 degrees, they are perpendicular. It doesn't matter if they're upside down. Right? They meet at a 90 degrees and they're perpendicular lines. So those two, vertically opposite, perpendicular. Last things to go for those 2.3